Bruce Smith says to fans, let's tear down the goalpost. I guarantee there'll be no beer consumed in Western New York tonight. Sure, Buffalo beat Miami 24-14, and they're home all the way through the AFC playoffs. Bruce Smith said, how sweet it is. The playoffs, playing today not for position, but maybe the Bills and the Redskins were trying to decide which one would go to the postseason with more of a forward spin. Let's go to RFK Stadium. The Bills and the Redskins. Jim Kelly encouraging Frank Lloyd Wright, the architect of the big win last week over Miami, but he's pressured by Wilbur Marshall. Down he goes with help from Andre Collins. On 3rd and 1, Reich is looking for his tight end Keith McKellar. Makes the catch, but again it's Wilbur Marshall. Causes the fumble, and he recovers it for Reich, who was hit several times by the Skins. Played the first half with 7 for 14. Even the most reliable seemed out of it today, Tommy.
Chris, a good sign that the Bills may have had a little bit of an emotional letdown after their game last week is when you see Thurman Thomas fumble the football as he does here. It's forced by Tracy Rocker, and Timmy Johnson recovers.
If you like kicking, and if you like the Redskins, you love Chip Lomel from 37, from 24, from 19, from 43, and from 32 yards. 5 for 5 on field goals, a pair of extra points. Chip Lomel most of the Redskins offense. One guy who did play up to his normal Pro Bowl status, the Bills' Bruce Smith.
Bruce Smith did not get a sack today, but he showed why he may indeed be the best defensive player in this league. Here he comes inside on Jim Lachey to put the rush on Rippon, forcing the incompletion. Here he splits the double team, but has the presence of mind to read the screen, get back out to the play. He does not make the tackle on Clark, but he forces him back to the inside where Leonard Smith cleans up.
Only Bruce Smith is fast enough to be even in the neighborhood.
Only Bruce Smith.
Gary Clark, that's for sure. In the second half, Reich turned it over to Gail Gilbert. But unfortunately for the Bills, he turned it over to Alvin Walton, and he could go all the way. But he doesn't. Kenneth Davis tackles him after a 60-yard return. Gilbert threw a pair of touchdown passes, also threw a pair of picks. On 2nd and goal, Gerald Riggs, just off the IR. Touchdown from 3 yards out. The Skins are up 22-7. Later in the 4th, a 3rd and 6. Look at the throw by Mark Rippon. Going down, fires it to Stephen Hobbs. He takes it in. And while Marv Levy wasn't that concerned, he still couldn't have been that pleased, but Mark Rippon was, because the Redskins, of all the teams going to the playoffs on Sunday, they probably looked the best. The Skins, or at least on this one day, the Skins beat Buffalo 29-14.
You weren't sure? The road to the Super Bowl in Tampa continues to go through San Francisco and Buffalo. To help us drive the road today here on Primetime, as always, Tom Jackson, Pete Axnelm, and we saw the #1 seeds in action today in both of the conferences, the Buffalo Bills and the San Francisco 49ers. Now, up north in Buffalo, the Bills hosted for the 3rd time. They played for the 3rd time this year. Their AFC East rival, the Miami Dolphins, the teams with the 2 best records in the AFC, 13-3, 12-4. They split their regular season games, Miami winning at home early, Buffalo winning in Buffalo just 3 weeks ago. The intrigue. Would Jim Kelly play, and if so, how effective would he be after a month off? Now, what 80,000 plus people in Western New York were saying, since we've got no place to go, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. They figure that would be to their advantage. Wasn't snowing at the start of the game, but the wind was blowing and the extra sweaters were out. The Bills fans, knowing their team was undefeated at home this year, 8-0, 23-2 over the last 3 years. Dan Marino, Tom Olivadotti, the Dolphins defensive coordinator, wondering how could they stop Jim Kelly. It was a good thing to wonder, because on the first play of the game, look at the Kelly pass, look at the Thermal Thomas catch. Good for 21 yards. Kelly going with the no-huddle offense. Looked like he hadn't missed a beat. A few plays later, Andre Reed beats Louis Oliver. He could go all the way. Touchdown. 1 drive, 7 points. Buffalo, 7-0. So Dan Marino said, this is what we're facing. Looks for Jim Jensen, but throws to the center instead. What happened here?
There was a reason that Jensen wasn't in the picture. Cornelius Bennett here plows over him, knocking him right out of the pattern. They contain Jensen all day. Here, Gerald Talley will tackle him as he tries to get out of the backfield. It wasn't called, but they punished Jensen on the day.
The Dolphins' drive stalled, but we've seen this, haven't we? A long-range field goal through rain, through sleet, through sun. Stoyanovic's 49-yarder. Now traction a problem as the Dolphins pulled it within 7-3. Second series, Kelly to the man that excels in cold weather. Remember him in Green Bay? Sure you do. Here's James Lofton, 1, 2, 3.5 feet in bounds. Concentration as he beats McKyer. That sets up a Norwood field goal, 10-3 Buffalo. Marino to Mark Clayton, off his hands, into the hands of Nate Odoms for the INT. So, next time they have the ball, what about the knee brace? Kelly is stripped by EJ Jr., rubbed in, bumped in, stumped in, but all-pro center Kent Hull falls on it, saves the day, saves a field goal, 13-3 Buffalo against Don Shula and company. Then, Kelly. Andre Reed burning Oliver again, finally brought down by Jarvis Williams.
And Louis Oliver put in a bad spot all day, brought up on the line of scrimmage to deal with a guy who's much quicker, much faster than he is, and it showed all day.
It also showed that Thurman Thomas could still run at home against Miami. 6-yard touchdown. It's going to be a dog day afternoon. No, sir, because the Bills favored to win in the cold lead at 20-3. But the Dolphins. Last week it was Marino to Clayton. This time he reacquainted himself with Mark Duper, who was super duper on this play. 64 yards. Could the Dolphins stay in? They trailed 20-10. On the next series, here come the Bills again. Kelly to Lofton. He walks in from 14 yards out. 5 series, 5 scores, 27-10. Looked like it was going to be 50-10. Those are Kelly's numbers in the first half. Lofton on the game, almost 150 yards on 7 catches. Meanwhile, how could Marino come back when he's facing Bruce Smith?
Well, Bruce Smith had to face rookie Richmond Webb all day, and it was pretty much a standoff. Here, Webb holding off Smith as Marino gets a pass off without being hit. Then Smith eludes Webb and Kenneth Sims to knock Marino down after he throws the ball, but that's a lot of pressure to throw under. Then Smith beating Webb, dragging down Mark Logan for a 5-yard loss. He excels playing the run game, something people don't talk about a lot.
And then Bruce combined with the unsung Darryl Talley to sandwich the referee, Rex Stewart, who had to be tough. Last minute of the half, Miami gets a break. The rookie Al Edwards hits a femme, and the punter Reggie Roby recovers. 4th down on the same series. Marino not going just for first down, going deep to Duper. Sets up 1st and goal. 3 plays later, the mercurial one. Marino always runs well in the snow. Touchdown, 27-17 at the half. Who would have thunk they would score this many points in this sort of weather at the half? In the second half, you knew it'd be a dogfight. Miami. Marino, after his first 6 or 7 passes, were flutterers. He bulleted the ball all day. 31 yards to Mark Clayton from
Louisville.
Then Sammy Smith chugs up the middle for 16, and the Dolphins look like they're going in. But on 3rd and short, Shane Conlon and Gary Baldinger snuff Smith. Dolphins settle for a field goal to win the touchdown, 27-20. The Bills come back. Looks like an INT, but look at Lofton make the catch between 3 Dolphin defenders. But then Kelly threw one he shouldn't have. Going for broke. Jarvis Williams picks it off at the 1. Why the bad pass?
Chris, we see the other end of the play coming in from Kelly's left side. Hugh Green hits him so that he can't step into the throw. Kelly showed a lot of toughness with that bad leg today.
After a field goal by Norwood made it 30-20, the Buffalo Bills. Mark Logan, who until the end excelled in this ball game, 43-yard return. And Tony Page, we saw him block so beautifully last week for the Dolphins against Kansas City in the cold. He did the same thing, Tom.
Here you see Page working on Carlton Bailey as Smith goes up the middle for 7, and then he runs right over Ray Bentley, opening up a good hole for Smith again, down to the 2.
I believe said to Ray, welcome to my nightmare. 4th quarter, see that guy number 61? Roy Foster report in as an extra tight end. Look at this. He knew what he was doing. He knows everything except how to spot. Well, what do I don't know. Okay, it's a touchdown. And the Dolphins have forged a tremendous comeback, 30-27. But the Bills get a break. When the deflection off Reed's hands can't be held by Reichenbach. Thurman Thomas later in the drive, 5 of his 117 yards, and Buffalo's back up by 10, 37-27. We mentioned Logan. Fumbled up there 3 weeks ago on a kickoff return. Here he gets popped by Hal Garner. Norwood recovers.
And he's trying to make something happen. That's the shame of it all. Return man always vulnerable with the football. Just an unfortunate case there for him to fumble that ball.
You know what happened? Kelly to Andre Reed. Touchdown. And it was about over. 44-27. Kelly threw for 339 yards. First man to throw for over 300 against the Dolphins this year. Marv Levy said, yes, we can score with anyone. Dan Marino said, you know, we played pretty well up here, but it wouldn't quite work. Get back, you fans. Don't go near those goalposts. The police guarded the post. Two members of the class of '83, Kelly and Marino, shake hands. Shula, Marv Levy wave at each other, shake hands. An outstanding ball game, folks, as the Bills beat the Dolphins 44-34, and they played like it was 75 or 80 degrees with beautiful skies and no wind. The 78 points in this game, the second highest scoring game in the history of the NFL playoffs. Only the overtime classic in the Orange Bowl between the Chargers and Dolphins, 41-38 San Diego, was more. The third highest was Dolphins-Steelers in the '84 title game. We all remember 73-0, the Bears and the Redskins. So second highest scoring total ever. And Jim Kelly said afterwards, you know what? Maybe the rest helped me.
I thought it helped me. The wrestling arm, I felt I had to zip today. I had it all week in practice. As a matter of fact, a couple of the receivers saying, take it easy a little bit. But overall, felt excellent. I think everybody was in tune. Everybody knew exactly what we had to go out and do today, and we did it. And like Coach Levy says, one more river to cross.
Defensively, we just struggled. We tried to put pressure on him. We blitzed him. He killed us blitzing. When we stayed back off, he had all day to throw the football and made the throws there. And we just, except for the one play, the big interception, we didn't get anything done defensively. And
I was kind of ticked off about the way they talk about us. You know, I really don't think at this point in time that Miami really gives us the respect that we deserve, really, because the way they shoot off at the mob and saying that, you know, they didn't play well the last time we were up here. Well, I think they played pretty damn good today, but they got their ass kicked.
Well, they did play pretty darn good, but they were beaten by 10 points. I'll be a little more eloquent than Thermal there. You know, we spoke about on game day, Tommy, that maybe Miami had to gamble, that maybe Kelly was rusty. Obviously, he wasn't rusty even in the snow, and he had a veteran that helped, number 80.
Yes, he did, Chris. You know, anytime you have inclement weather, I think it works on the receivers more than anyone else just because they have to catch the ball. And I couldn't help but be reminded by James Lofton today of a game in 1984 on Monday night that we played in a blizzard in Colorado. We took a 14-point lead early in the game, but he had a career night throughout that game, made 11 or 12 catches. Well, he did the same thing today. I think that under pressure in bad weather, he shows the kind of poise and concentration that's going to take the Bills a long way.
You know, Tom, I'm sure a lot of viewers watching those highlights are wondering why was a safety, Louis Oliver, assigned to try and handle Andre Reed? Well, the answer is, as I mentioned on game day, defensive coordinator Tom Olivadotti was not dealing from a full deck today. He didn't have his best defensive player, linebacker John Offerdahl. So he had to experiment with different zones, try and make something work. Obviously, nothing worked. But I want to know, why do we have to put up these graphics that show that not only was this the second highest scoring game, but the first highest scoring game? My Dolphins lost that one, too.
Did you notice they were in the top three? So you know it's a habit here. And speaking of the Dolphins, Axe, let's say one thing before we wave goodbye to the Dolphins this season. Twice they went into Buffalo, 3 weeks ago and today. And twice they waged war. Twice they played better than a lot of folks thought they would. Looked like this could be 50-3 at one point in this game. They were right in it. Marino is now a mature quarterback. When he was in the playoffs before, he was a second and third year guy. This is a much better Marino, and this is a team that is going on from here. They can hold their heads up high because they had a shot to win that game. But it's Buffalo that moves on to the AFC title game, which they will host against the Raiders or the Bengals. And one reason why they beat the Dolphins again, Thermal Thomas at home against Miami. In his 4 games, he's run for 493 yards, more than the Dolphins combined, much more. And you see his touchdowns. He had a $117 today. He's one of the reasons. The San Francisco 49ers. Earlier in the day, much cooler climes. The Buffalo Bills, they had a chance the first year of the Super Bowl play to go on and represent the AFL in the Super Bowl. They hosted the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFL title game. They didn't win it. This is their first time hosting it since. Meanwhile, the team they played today, the LA Raiders, have been in 12 chances to make the Super Bowl. The Bills had never been to the Super Bowl, but boy, Are they going now with a vengeance? Let's take a look at the action at Rich Stadium. A record crowd, over 80,300, saw no bowl for the Raiders. The red, white, and blue colors were out. American flags, the red, white, and blue of the Buffalo Bills. Right from the get-go, they won the toss and the game was over. Thurman Thomas from the shotgun for 15. No huddle offense, no backfield. Where is it? It's down there. It's Thermal for 13. 2 plays later, Kelly to, Thermal Thomas. Over the middle, beats Tom Benson, a gain of 9. Defensive coordinator Dave Adolph said, this doesn't look good. He was right. 4 plays later from the 5, Kelly rolls out. Finds Andre Reed, touchdown. 5 yards, 7-0 Bills. But working his 9th and final championship game, Jim Tunney says, holding on Jim Richards. So, all right, then we'll throw a 13-yard touchdown, no problem. Kelly even fumbles the snap. Eludes Greg Townsend. Finds James Lofton. 5 playoff games, 5 times in the end zone at least once. 7-0 Buffalo.
And the great thing about this play, Chris, is the presence of mind that Kelly has. Once he fumbles the ball, makes a tremendous pickup of the ball, then keeps his head up in order to find Lofton for the touchdown.
So the Raiders, Jay Schrader, down 7-0. How would they respond? Well, he's got a couple of good cold weather receivers like Swervin Mervin Fernandez out of the CFL. That picked up 26. On the next play, Schrader to the former Chicago Bear, Willie Gault. He of the bobsled, pick up a 24. 2 plays later on 3rd and 5, Schrader to Fernandez. He can't hold on. But the Raiders do answer with some points. Jeff Mick Jagger nails the field goal at 7-3, but if you're a Raider fan, that was it. Dave Adolph hopes the Raider defense can adjust. One thing they tried to do is Gary Lewis, put him in the nickel package, but it doesn't matter. Kelly, undaunted, the bomb to Lofton. 43-yard pickup. Tommy, the guy gets better. He's like fine wine.
And he did a tremendous job today fighting his way off the line of scrimmage and then just watch the catch and enjoy it.
On the next play, Kelly finds no one open. He of the knee brace. Let it go for the first down. The Bills in business again. Next play, the draw to Thurman Thomas. 12 yards, touchdown. 14-3 Buffalo. It was not a good day for the Raiders.
Raiders get caught in a line stunt with Howie Long going inside. Thurman Thomas reads it perfectly and then accelerates to the end zone.
Speaking of Thurman Thomas, watch this. Are you kidding me? The one-handed grab and another first down. However, the Bills' drive is actually thwarted as Gary "This Diamond Ring" Lewis makes the interception right there. A golden opportunity for Schrader and the Raiders to get back in it. But with about 3 minutes to go in the first quarter, Schrader picked off by the unsung linebacker Darryl Talley. Once again, he's not in the Pro Bowl, but he's in the end zone for a touchdown. 12 minutes in, the game was over, 21-3 Buffalo. So Mike White trying to calm Schrader down on the phone. That's the quarterback coach, but it was a connection that was not good. Marcus Allen, split wide. No, sir. As you see what happens here, he's just frustrated, Tom.
And Marcus Allen never got looked at by Schrader here, and you can see the frustration as the play ends.
You move Schrader's feet, he gets to be in trouble sometimes. Bruce Smith psyched for his namesake, Don Smith. But on the goal line, he's stopped. 11th play of this drive. Thurman Thomas is stopped. So on 4th down, never a question for Ted Marchibroda's offense. Kenneth Davis, first of his 3 touchdowns, 27-3. Rich Stadium going berserk. Art Shell knew what was going on. And if he didn't know then, it was convincing when Jamie Holland tried to return the kick, but Buffalo's Jamie was better. Jamie Mueller recovers it. The Bills, the knockout punch against Al Davis. Even though Norwood missed the field goal, they get it back. A Tasker. Steve Tasker catches the 44-yard bomb. Kenneth Davis with another touchdown. 34-3. We're still in the second quarter. You could feel momentum. The Raiders just had no shot. Picked off by Nate Odoms, and Odoms going to turn it into a nice return. While James Lofton had plenty to smile about today.
The Bills have developed a great knockout punch. His name is Lofton. Look at the strength as he leaves the line of scrimmage there, beating Washington for a big game.
So on the next play, you go to Lofton, 41-3 before the end of the half. For the Raiders, it was simply a very long day. halftime stats. The score 41-3. The Bills almost 400 yards. The 41 points in the first half, the most ever in postseason play, the history of the NFL. Third quarter, more of the same. He goes deep, and it's going to get picked off by Kelso. Kelso picks it off at the Buffalo 5. Another Raider threat. No, Leonard Smith with the pick. Fourth quarter, Schrader connects with Darryl Talley. Even Vince Evans came in and threw a pick to Alice Cooper's favorite, Ray Bentley. Jay for the day, a lot of hot air. 13 of 31 for $150 and 5 picks. For Lionel Washington, he can play some good corner, but Jamie Mueller, boom! That's the kind of day it was. 3 plays later, Kenneth Davis, yeah, he scored 3 touchdowns, 48-3. Al Davis could only shake his head. No more bickering Bills. A year ago, those two men, Thurman Thomas and Jim Kelly, were in his other throats. Today, they're smiling, laughing. And the man, the only man who's ever owned the Buffalo Bills, Ralph Wilson, finally gets his dream of the Super Bowl. Cornelius and Bruce, some dirty dancing. Jim Kelly lined up the coach for a little Buffalo shower. And the Bills lined up the Raiders to a 51-3 bashing at Rich Stadium, which is probably still flying, although the game was over about 4 hours ago. After the game, the no-huddle offense, which worked so well, Thurman Thomas